Oh, so far so good. Although I didn't add a description like I wanted to, but that's okay. Well, while people are starting to get to the stream, and I just want to be sure that this is working. Hopefully this will... Oh, finally, yeah, there we go. Okay, so I am live. Alright, so while we're waiting for people to get into the stream here, I figure we'd go and see what some of the stuff that George sent me today. Where is it? 6 hours ago. Want to be sure I get to the top here. Okay, yeah, here we go. Listen, you son of a bitch. You posted my personal information on Ed. No, someone posted your bankruptcy form there. You have lurked through my bankruptcy like a fine-tooth comb. Well, I didn't. I mean, most of the goons did. I mean, I saw some things, but not everything. Because you are a pathetic piece of shit. For your information, I'm still living in my house. Okay, now, I can't play the video because I promised the person that I wouldn't play it. But George admitted that he lives on Quasi-Nietzsche Street. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, this is the street he could... yeah, let's see... Queocassin Road? Anyway, and me and some of the goons theorize that this is probably where he's living right now, but George said in a phone call that this is the road that he's living on currently. Probably in a tent. And of course some people instantly get that reference. Let me just double check, be sure everything's broadcasting alright. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see. Oh, hey there, DJ Greenlight. Alright, so go back here. Where was I? For your information, I'm still living in my house, which is bullshit. Just goes to show you know nothing of what you're fucking talking about. You are a clueless son of a bitch, in all caps. So fucking desperate to get information because you have no fucking life. You are a no fucking life because... Wait a minute. You are a no fucking life because mommy pays your bills and your $600... I love it how George projects. I mean, remember, this coming from a person who didn't pay his bills, which we're going to discuss shortly. I mean, George was doing really bizarre things to not pay his bills, but like I said, we're going to get to that later. Only information from a bankruptcy, which is pretty fucking sad. I'm going to fix the issue where you won't be able to say or do any more shit on the internet. It is going to happen. I will save my home, bitch, by any means, you pathetic fucking faggot. Next statement. Your harassment is coming to a fast stopping point. Boy, that's awkward phrasing. I will make sure of it, and I will tear down that Ed page. Yeah, fuck Ed, man. Watch me. I'm going to get the last laugh, faggot. Jesus, he is desperate. So, I talk about the court document that I sent, which I'm going to be showing you guys here in a moment. Hey, bitch, you have no fucking clue. I still live in my house. Bankruptcy are meant for... Doesn't spell there correctly. Creditors to review, not some obsessed faggot to harass somebody with. I'm going to do something about it. That's not what bankruptcy's for. Bankruptcy's to help you, son of a bitch, not to help creditors. Jesus. You have no bills because you live with your mother who beat... Wait a minute. You... Jesus, this is so fucking awkward. You have no bills because you live with your mother who you beat... Oh, who you beat when you can't get your way. You live on the internet, you pathetic piece of shit. By the way, this was after I told George, you know what? I may lose my house, but at least I pay the bills from George's last tirade video. Yeah, this was the road that he says he lives on. The video that I can't show you guys just yet. Hopefully the person who made it will allow me to post it somewhere eventually. Anyway, let's see if we got any more people here. No, okay, no more chat just yet. Anyway, what I'm going to show you guys now is the document that I sent the court, which they got yesterday. And there's all the regular information you guys know. And here's what I said. Dear Judge presiding over this case, or to whom it may concern, since 2010, Mr. Yarid has almost annually filed frivolous lawsuits in his perpetual attempt to intimidate and silence his online detractors, and I list every case that he's filed so far, which is many. The cases filed previous to this one have all been dismissed to Yarid's continued failure to provide credible evidence against his defendants, as well as his obliviousness concerning copyright law. The works in question fall under fair use, specifically the clause of parody and criticism. He regularly abuses YouTube's reporting system, even after YouTube has ruled against him in the past, consequently terminating a number of my accounts there. In addition, Mr. Yarid submitted his copyright illegally by paying for a single application when he in fact submitted multiple works. As for Mr. Yarid's allegation of harassment or harassment, he is actually the one who usually initiates contact with me, which is definitely true. I'd say he initiates contact with me somewhere between 80 to 90% of the time. And his correspondence with me is peppered with threats, including threats of bodily harm, which I will attach below. He has also harassed friends and members of my family, contacting them with the intention of extracting information about me, which of course he's failed. And yeah, these were some of the screen caps that I sent. This is, of course, always makes me laugh, the whole Mongols thing. And of course the whole strangling me and that sort of thing. So we get to the last page. Oddly, these threats persist even after the filing of his latest suit. Additional attempts to intimidate and silence me and others are included in the links attached below, and I use the links from his last three tirade videos, funny tirade videos as well. That was the one where he says, you know what, I may be losing my house, but at least I pay my bills. I'm sorry if I keep bringing that up. It's just that remark is so funny. As well as slanderous remarks, including that I molest Japanese kids, I beat my mother, can't tell the difference between right and left, I was born with fetal alcohol syndrome. Let's see, what else did I forget to add there? God, so many things that Gorgeous George has said about me over the years, you forget like most of it. Anyway, in conclusion, I move for a dismissal of this case and for Mr. Yarid to be declared a vexatious litigant. In all of his previous filings, he has never produced the evidence for them to continue. And that trend will certainly continue should you let this current attempt at litigation continue unabated. Thank you for your consideration. Very respectfully, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so the judge, or not the judge, so the court got that on Friday, so hopefully we should be getting a ruling on this on Monday, which the lulls will certainly begin then. Any new messages? I want to see the video, I'm curious. Are you talking about the prank call video where they got them to say where George currently lives, or the... Yeah, well, I don't know which video. But, so... Now for tonight's event, the bankruptcy form. Now you could see this currently if you want to download this and look at it for yourself. It's currently on Encyclopedia Dramatica. Now the thing that should be of note immediately is the date and time. This was done the day his house was being auctioned out. As a matter of fact, about 5.5 hours before that began. Now, it's like I said, there's so much lulls with this. Not surprisingly, he filed for Chapter 7 because usually people who file Chapter 11 and beyond are businesses. And, yeah, let's get right down to it. I gotta love how he refers to himself as Mr. Yarid, not understanding what the meaning of suffix means, because suffix comes after your freaking last name, not before. And also here... He literally started to write down his full SSI number. Idiot. Also, for the first time we learned about George's taxi business, he actually calls it Ride-em Cowboy Taxi. Let the jokes begin here. Jesus Christ. Too many fucking jokes. Too many. And also, I don't know why he listed this, because as far as I know, he doesn't live there anymore. So we continue down here. A lot of this is stuff that's not really necessary to talk about here. He talks about his taxi business. He mentions he's the sole proprietor, which probably means he's probably the only employee. He probably doesn't really hire other people, at least as far as I know just yet. And continue scrolling down here. Yeah, a lot of this is not really anything of note. Okay, yeah, here we go. Are you let's see. Yes, I follow under Chapter 7. Do you estimate that after any exempt property is excluded and administrative expenses are paid, that funds will be available to distribute to unsecured creditors? Plan to keep my 2 vehicles under the exemption, poor debtor, along with my exemption household property. So even though his house is already been foreclosed on and was being sold this afternoon, he's already claiming that his house is exempt. Jesus. So we can see how many creditors he has here. It's less than 49. If I remember correctly, it's like 14 total. How much do you estimate your assets to be worth? He was still claiming his house at this point, by the way, which is why he was saying it's between 100,000 to $500,000. And portion disputed is the same amount. So according to George, this the mortgage that he took out, the second mortgage he took out, all these loans are disputed. It's not something he did voluntarily on his own. According to George, he paid all the bills and didn't do anything wrong. Whew. And we're not even 10 pages in, folks. All right, and so, yeah, for any of you who want to contact George, there's his number. And he's still using gorgeousgeorgeshow at netzero.net. I have not seen a NetZero email address since, like, God, at least the mid-2000s. It's been a long ass time. I didn't even know. It's like I said, George is the only person I know who has NetZero. So, let's see. Any new comments? That one. I've got popcorn ready to lull. Ride up, cowboy! I think he's going to lose at that one vehicle, but even possibly both. Yep. Does he really owe money to hookers? Probably. It's interesting to note that he says his house should be exempt, but cites no laws that would make it exempt. Exactly, Captain Corpulent. See, George thinks he's special, and that's why he should get his house exempt. Where are we at? Let's see. Summary of your assets, liabilities, total real estate. Now, it should be of note here that this was the amount that was appraised at earlier this year. When George's house was appraised at the time of auction, it was, I think, in the high 170s. And that's because there is a lot of damage to the house, and George admits that later. Total personal property, God, that's pretty sad. George's personal property is less than $8,000. And I find this weird because I don't think he included his cars and any of the other things. I think this is all his stuff that he has in his house. I really don't trust the math on this one. Let's see. Creditors who claim secured by property. This is through the mortgage, $176,595. Priority unsecured claims, more than $40,000. And then it's like I said, it's hard to tell if these numbers are even true because George seems like he pulls a lot of this stuff out of his ass. But either way, since the bank already sold it, I think we can discount this one because usually when the banks foreclose on the property, I don't think you owe your mortgage anymore at that point. I think it's already sold and distributed amongst the banks as far as I know. So yeah, it's like I said, I don't know how accurate these numbers are. So scroll down here some more. And of course, George owes taxes. What a surprise. Almost $1,100 worth. Scroll down here. Tri-level. I don't know why. When I see tri-level house, that makes me laugh. Now here's... It's hard to make out what George is saying here. Dispute amount. Oh, it looks like it says amount as opposed to amount. So let's see. Current value of the property. So George is saying the disputed amount is $320. Now, and here he says this is the disputed amount, but he says original note here. Well, what the fuck? It's like I said. It's hard to make heads or tails out of these things. Let's see. Modification amount $171,295. Other information you wish to add about this item, such as local property identification number. I plan to try to keep property if I can. No, you don't, George, because currently you're living in an apartment. At least as far as we know. So scroll down here. Value of the house. Like I said, it's hard to keep track of this. So we go down to the vehicles here. And now, once again, he doesn't put these numbers into, like, the amount that he has in terms of, like, I already showed you guys that number earlier. So here we go. E320. This is George's mom soccer. Jesus, I can't even say it right. It's the soccer mom station wagon that he has. That ugly freaking Mercedes. And it's only... I highly doubt it's even worth this much, by the way, considering how well George takes care of his his other properties. Jesus. His property. I'm stuttering like a motherfucker tonight. A Dodge 2003 Grand Caravan, which I believe is the car that he uses for his taxi business. Ooh, I didn't even see this part. Lien with Springfield Financial, lien with Fast Loans. Plan to exclude both of these vehicles under the poor debtor exemption. It's like I said, I only have read some of the bankruptcy laws, and I know you can, like, secure, I believe it's like 90% of your property under normal bankruptcy laws. I don't know. It's like I said, I don't know with these vehicles, though. Anyway, we're going to continue down. Let's see. Now we get to see George's personal property. Let's see if there's any new comments, because this is the only way I can see it. Oops. Let's see. If you Google poor debtor exemption Virginia, just the link comes up and explains what it is and what is not. Oh, it does not list homes, but does seem to say you can keep a vehicle. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Does he list private investigator as a source of income? No, he doesn't. Let's see. I'm the clue guy, but he's a PI. He puts the PI pig. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, so we're going to look at George's personal property here. Now, you guys have seen this refrigerator in his videos that he does in his kitchen. $150, and I would say that's about $100 too much. I highly doubt his... It is a really old school refrigerator. It looks like one from, like, the early 90s, maybe. It's very trashy looking. So he only, as under electronics, he's only has one television, and it's worth $100, which is probably not even HD, I bet. And antiques, paintings, blah, 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 grandfather clock, $450. I think if you look on Encyclopedia Dramatica under the, you remember the doll that he had? You can see a picture of that clock, and it's really nothing special. So scroll down here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Clothes, everyday clothes, furs, blah, blah, blah. Exempt. 20 suits, 10 pairs of pants, 20 dress shirts, $1,000. For used clothing, that's a lot of money to say that's $1,000. And not to mention, George doesn't know how to wear any of this stuff anyway, because he likes to wear his Nike shirt with his, like, business suit. It just makes him look so white trash. And go down here. What a surprise. George doesn't have any jewels or... Actually, that makes me sad when I say that. Or non-farm animals. So, other one, washer and dryer, which George probably hardly uses, considering how he smells. Go down here. What a surprise, George doesn't have any cash. Deposits of money. So, this is all the money that George currently has right now. And it's in Woodforest Bank, and he lists his account number if you guys want to look that up. $850, and his second account is $100, which I find it a little bizarre that George has two checking accounts. It doesn't really make much sense to me, so scroll down here some more. Go down here. Oh, yeah, here we go. More lols. Copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, and other intellectual property, and of course, George says his show. And you would think that since, you know, George values this show lightly, that he would have given this, like, I don't know, $100,000 amount. No dollar value. Even his business license, you know, George's actual business is worth nothing. So basically, everything that George values and loves is completely worthless according to him. And that's the other thing, because he's currently suing me right now. One of the things that you have to prove when you go to court, especially with copyright cases, is you have to, like, show how much your show is worth, and or whatever your copyrighted item is worth. And if it's worth nothing and you win, you get nothing in damage. It's so silly. Um, Scroll down here some more. Claims against third parties, whether or not you have filed a lawsuit or made a demand for payment. Filed a lawsuit for intellectual property being stolen. No dollar amount yet. Even though my show's worth jack shit, I expect like millions of dollars to save my precious home. Oh, here we go. This is another thing that I find interesting. Any financial assets. Now, this should have been listed under his personal property, golf clubs. These would have to be like ancient golf clubs for this to be worth any money. And then, I don't even think he spelt this right. I think he meant like a Wurlitzer. I forget what it's called, but I know it's not spelt that way. $1,000. It must be a really crappy jukebox if it's only worth $1,000 with your golf clubs, because normally those things go for a lot of money, especially like ones from like the pre-70s or am I thinking of another brand? It doesn't matter. I know that brand has some pretty pricey stuff on like eBay, for example, and various auction sites. Okay, scroll down here. I guess we'll take a look at the chat, see what's going down. I love you too. I don't know who you are. The poor debtor law says that he will be able. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of good that'll do with no home. Captain Corpulence. We figure me and some of the other goods figured out that he's probably living here because he mentioned in a prank call that somebody did to him today that he lives here. And this is like one of the first properties that you see, and this is the review. Like, it has 2.4 stars. Let me read this really quick, because just to give you guys an idea here. This place is horrible. I moved my friend in, and they had dead roaches in the apartment. Cracks in the walls and ceiling. Pipes dripping. Gas smell in the apartment. If I was staying here, I would pay my $58 to take them to court and get some of my money off these bums. But yeah, basically this place is a shithole. That's why we theorize that George is probably living there now. Whoops. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? How can you have damages in your intellectual property if it has $0 value? Thank you. His show video catalog is pricey. Yes, it is. Lol, he has a fucking jukebox. Don't know why I find that so. Yeah, I find that funny too. I think it's probably from his dad or one of his relatives. I doubt he had the money to ever buy and take care of a jukebox. Any sane person would have sold that shit and paid the bill. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, I would feel bad for him too if he wasn't such a dickbag. Okay, so now here we go. Now keep in mind, he has a jukebox and golf clubs worth $1,000, but he has a bed worth $300. That's a pretty expensive bed there, considering how old some of his stuff is. My theory is it might be a new bed, but who the fuck knows? Probably has a lot of piss stains on it though. Okay, so I don't think anything. The other thing that should be of note here is there's a lot of math errors. So let's see. Total vehicles. His 2 whole vehicles is worth less than $5,000, which I find to be pretty funny. Total personal and household items, $2,000. So yeah, basically he just adds all this stuff here, and I didn't add this up, so I don't know if this number is accurate or not. Now, yeah, these are the things that he says should be exempt. And doesn't really give. Oh yeah, he cites poor debtors thing as to why they should be exempt. Oh, and apparently his grandfather clock. So basically everything that George like described above, he thinks all of it should be exempt. None of it should be sold, which is a huge shocker since George should be exempt from everything. Okay, now here comes the good part. This is all the stuff that he currently owns. Or, now, I don't know, once again, I don't know why he listed the house. Oh, no, this is the debt, excuse me. Pardon me, this is all the debt that he has. Stupid me. Anyway, the first one, of course, is his first mortgage. In the amount of $171,295, which really this should have been cleared off, as I mentioned, because the house took it. There should be no reason why you should still have to pay that. And once again, he almost wrote the full amount of his digits here, or the full, you know what I mean. Jesus. Go down here. He placed another load on his car. Um, let's see. Agreed to debt. I don't even know what he means there. Agreed to debt. So I guess he's saying that he's agreed to pay off that bill. Once again, let's list the account number there. Keep in mind, if you notice, like the dates on when this happens is around the time when George almost lost his home the first time, which, you know, is a huge shocker. So we go here. Yeah, this is George's taxi van, his craptastic van that he uses. Let's see. That was in. Now this is interesting. George bought this car when he was like way up to his eyeballs in debt. So he bought this year. Amazing. That is really amazing. God, it's really hard to make out some of this writing. So go scroll down here. Once again, he's saying that he's exempt from this stuff, which is, once again, it's hard. I'm going to keep saying it's hard to believe, because every time I look at this, my mind is just boggled at, like, how much money he actually fucking owes to, like, people. For example, Verizon and Fios. Let's see, yeah, when was this debt occurred? So this was back in 2010. Once again, this was like around the time when he almost lost his house the first time. And almost $1,400. I'm surprised that Verizon allowed it to get this high. That is amazing. And other dispute amount price bill. Amount price bill. Not disputing the amount of the bill, just price bill. Jesus. Okay, so go down to the next one. Revenue group. He owes $1,100. A collection agency. And you also gotta love that the math that tried to the math that George tried to do here before he scratched it out. I'm surprised he doesn't use like the calculator on his cell phone to do this stuff out, so he doesn't have to like do this amateurish sort of stuff here. And once again, no whiteout. Writes really sloppily. It's actually really hard to make out what he's saying here sometimes. All right, might as well look at the chat, see what's going down. Let's see. It's customary to withstand his obesity. Yep. I think he'll lose a Mercedes for certain. Yeah, because it's a luxury car. It's not like an everyday practical car that people can ride. Let's see. I think he'll lose a Mercedes for certain, and even possibly a cab. Well, it's clear George has a way with money. The same way he has with words and women, by the way. Yeah, Jesus, he needs a fucking crayon. Pretty much. Whoops, sorry about that. Go back to here. Asset recovery, which I find to be completely ironic since it didn't help him recover his assets. So let's see, Wells Fargo, $6,000. Now, a little background on me here. When I was in high school, I was in the FBLA, which for those of you who don't know is the Future Business Leaders of America. And we went to this retreat where it was sort of a day field trip where we got to sit in all these lectures. And it, specifically a credit card one. And they say the worst thing you can do to pay off credit card debt is either taking out credit cards or taking loans, because you build your debt up faster. It's either better to like negotiate with them and or just, you know, sell off some of your shit. Bank of America, $2,200. I was going to say $2,009. So once again, this all coincides with the time frame where George almost lost his house the first time. I'm actually surprised that George was able to hold on to his house this long, considering how much money he like accrued in debt at this point. SunTrust Bank, and yeah, this is the second mortgage we're looking at here in 2011, which I have a feeling this is what he did to save his house the first time. $39,000, and he claims this as a priority. Go down here, AMCA, which I think is a credit, collection agency. Okay, that makes sense. This was done in 2015. 600. This is the thing that amazes me. I think the smallest amount that Gigi owes here is like $100. These are all like big numbers. Like, even for people in debt, this is like excruciatingly painful. Okay, debt recovery solutions. When was the debt incurred? George is so much up to his eyeballs in debt, he can't even keep track of when it all occurred. Another collection agency, of course. Okay, so Verizon Wireless, another another bill here owed. Hard to make this out. $338.57. Oh, this time it's the phone bill. Since it's, let's see, 2016, I bet it's his like cell phone bill. All right, scroll down here. Let's see what this form is. List all your non-priority unsecured claims to the this is a non-priority to the IRS. And he gives it 3 stars. Priority. This really is like a 10-year-old wrote this thing. It's either that or George is a Satan worshiper. $1,077. God damn. And he claims that he actually only owes $500, which, knowing George, is probably a bald-faced lie. Okay, Comcast Cable. Now, if you notice, April 2016, I actually have a feeling that one of the reasons he's not allowed to be on public access right now is because of his huge bill. So yeah, so scrolling down here, Department of Public Utilities. So this is basically his electricity and water bills. The seweraging bill George does not pay, which of course, oh god, every time I hear that freaking call from the 4th movie and hear him say seweraging bill, I'm like instantly on the floor. He only $77. Scroll down here, and I think this is just lists all the same shit. Second mortgage wasn't secure. Blah, blah, blah. But look at all the... According to George, he owes more than $52,000 if you add these 2 things together. I'm not kidding. I mean, people say they face palm sometimes. I literally face palmed when I saw the amount of money that George had listed here. Oh, God. If like Captain Corpulent said, if he had like a shred of humility and like just was even remotely a decent person, I would actually feel bad for this guy. So now we're down to this. Let's see here, anything interesting? Blah blah blah. I think I'll look at the chat here in a second because I don't think we're gonna find anything funny here. Describe employment. So basically, this is George's only employment right now if we go by this. Also self-employed with Ride 'em Cowboy Taxi. Stop, cause vehicle doesn't run, need repairs. Brilliant. So basically, George bought that van and now it doesn't run. God. I'm literally... thank God you guys can't see me. Okay, so he does both things. There's an independent contractor, name is Todd, or that might be the company name. Jesus. So he only makes $2,400 a month. So let's talk about this for a second, folks. He gets $2,400 a month times 12 is basically around like what, $26,000 a year, somewhere around there. And George has incurred like tens and thousands of dollars worth of debt. It makes you wonder what he was fucking buying with all that shit. I am like, just, it's like I said, when you see these kind of numbers, it just makes you flabbergasted. Yeah, let's look at the chat right now, see what's going down. Well, he'll lose the Mercedes. Oh, I already read this shit. Posted the link to this video on, let's see, GG's won't list horse gambling, drugs, flowers to sue every week. Yeah, pretty much. And his bill to Nacho Mamas. Sean is the Ronald Reagan to Gigi's Gorbachev. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that bank loan was Gigi's freaking Chernobyl. So let's look at Gigi's bills here. Electricity, heat, natural gas, 100. That seems a little bit high in Virginia. Then again, George was living in a home, so maybe not. The water seweraging bill and garbage collections. God damn, that's a lot of money. 50. Well, actually, not necessarily. In California, that's not a lot of money, but in other states, I could imagine that being a lot of money. Telephone, cell phone, internet, satellite, and cable services. You would think this would be the first thing Gigi would cut since he's in so much financial debt. Yet he's spending $200. That's a lot of money. Oh, here we go. So it mentions internet, satellite, and cable services here. Other specify internet cable. Oh my god, did you hear that? Let me do that again. Instant facepalm. I swear that man cannot read. So it really is hard to keep track right now. Let's see. So I'm thinking it's got to be $325 then, since this is basically the same category. Clothing, laundry, dry cleaning, $25 a month. Transportation, including gas, maintenance, bus, or train fare, $225. So I'm actually surprised $550 for Gigi's car payments, considering how much he's got right now. Gym fee exempt. He plays racquetball too, folks. $9.95. So he must be going to like Planet Fitness if it's that cheap. So calculate expensive. You gotta like how George can't make up his mind or use whiteout here. Keeps scratching everything out. Oh yeah, here's another good part. Do you expect an increase or decrease in your expenses within a year or after you file this form? Excuse me. No. Explain here. No. George is too special to explain his shit. Oh my god. I'm having way too much fun with this, in spite of how depressing the subject matter is. Scroll down here some more. George signs some more shit. What a surprise. What is your current marital status? Not married, considering George says he has a girlfriend. During the last 3 years, have you lived anywhere else? So this must be before George moved into his new place, because he was still hoping he would still be living here. To present. Oh, God. Let's see. Do you have income for your employer? Operating expenses? So far, not a lot of interesting shit at this point anyway. Okay, so let's keep scrolling down here. Yes, here we go. Identify legal actions, repossessions, and foreclosures. Which, you know what? We're going to talk about this in a moment, but notice what you don't see. You don't see him listing his property, which is a big no-no. And if I were a real asshole, I mean, I already sent my court documents to the judge, which you guys just saw earlier. I would send something to the court mentioning that he didn't list his property being foreclosed on, because you're supposed to list everything. George Yarid versus Sean Brennan and Will Markland. Sued for intellectual property being stolen. Yeah, I'm sure that will go really well. Keep scrolling down here. Because once again, a lot of these forms are boring. Okay, let's see. Lists financial accounts, blah, blah, blah. So basically the stuff that George just listed above, he lists here again. And the math looks right. That's the same numbers that he has listed above. Wait a minute. When it was created, excuse me. I thought that's what he had since like 2013. Keep scrolling and keep scrolling. So that's interesting. Now, for those of Jesus, I don't stutter. For those of us who've been goons a long time, George has been saying that he's had this taxi business for years. According to this, he's had it since May of 2015, which makes me think that he's had like taxi businesses before, and has either had to close them down because of either financial reasons or maybe he was being sued. Because it's weird that he's just listing this now. Remember when George had that taxi business on, what was it, Google Plus? It had a completely different name. I can't remember what it was called right now, but it had a different name than Ride M Cowboy Taxi. Ride M Cowboy Taxi. Jesus, let's move on. Well, let's go back to the chat. Let's see. Toilet flush, yes. See, his seweraging bill is high because he flushes himself down the commode. Yes, indeed. Well, he has PTSD for flushing noises, so he shits in the backyard. Yep, that's why the property values drop too. Actor and headshots, acting classes, a trip to auditions. No, George is perfect enough the way he is. He has to spend zero on that. George is just really bad with money. Yep, can't blame Sean for the shit. There are 10-year-olds that can manage money better than him. Actually, yeah, funny that you should mention that. Because when I was a kid, I saved money to buy, like, video games and video game consoles all the time. George can't even, like, store, like, $20 a week away just to pay for that one freaking, cable bill. It's like I said, it's really pathetic. Let's see, I never got my $1,000. Did he name that as his debt? If not, maybe I could still get paid. Well, he has $850 in the bank blast from the past. Maybe we could get that. Let's see, that's hilarious. Cab is... Yep. Yeah, that's right. Cab Services Inc. was his old name. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. It's like I said, the other theory is he might have, like, got into an accident and not wanted to get sued, so he just changed his name. A lot of, like, small shady businesses do that all the time. Oh, God, yeah, my favorite part of this whole form. List your creditors who have secured claims. And the first one, of course, is the mortgage one. And retain the property and explain, this is my childhood home. I plan to save it by any means necessary. No, make it exempt. Look at this. Look how many times George circled this. Can you see the desperation, folks? I swear, George, like, emotionally is perpetually a 12-year-old. How could you have that kind of logic to think that, you know, the government will just make something happen if you ask them to? And, of course, George has all these other... You know what? I'm starting to think George might lose his cars because I think he might have more than one loan taken out on it, as far as I know. Let's see. Going down here. Where's that one math problem I saw? There's one area where I saw where George couldn't do the math correctly. Keep scrolling. And scrolling. Okay, to give an example of how badly George does math. So out-of-pocket healthcare allowance per person. Thanks, Obama. 0. So here we go. Add lines 7C, which is 1 times 0. According to George, 1 times 0 is $1. Can't even do 5th grade math correctly. Actually, I think I learned, like, 0 times anything is 0 in, like, the 4th grade. Wow. Can't even do basic math correctly. Let's see. Scroll down here. Scrolling. But yeah, if you look through this form, there's plenty of math mistakes in this thing. Wow, we're almost done already. I thought I would have been doing this for hours. Okay, so... Scrolling. So far, nothing over here of note. Let's see. Deductions for payment. So, oh my God. Is that really what it means? Is this average monthly payment? I thought this was the amount George has paid so far. So George has to pay wow. Yeah, for George's, like, the kind of money that George makes a month, that is a huge freaking chunk, which makes you wonder why he even took these loans out in the first place. Keep scrolling. And scrolling. So far, there's a lot of nothing. We're almost at the end of this thing already. Yeah, we're basically at the end. Now, at the end is all the places George owes money to and the amount that he owes. So, first one is 171. Now, George should be exempt from this because, as mentioned, you know, the bank already foreclosed on his house. Although, interestingly enough, like I said, he didn't mention this in his court document. I mean, not court document. In the earlier pages about... Jesus, sorry if I'm stumbling here. Let's see. Springfield Financial... $4,900. He's only $400 exempt. Oh my God. It really is flabbergasting. Keep in mind, George makes around $26,000 a year, yet he took out $180,000. Jesus. Verizon Fios, $1,400. Revenue, $811. Comcast Cable, $611. Department of Public. Why does he have the number all the way up here? Shouldn't this number be right here? Jesus Christ. Notice how he writes in an upward slant too. Look at this. It goes all the way in an upward right sort of slant like that. IRS. Yeah, I'm sure the IRS will totally allow him to be exempt. So according to George, he's paid about half this thing already. Let's see. Assets recovery, Wells Fargo. Got $6,000. Sorry if I'm literally facepalming again. It literally is shocking to see George having this kind of debt. Bank of America, $2,200. SunTrust Bank, $39,000. Woo-hoo-hoo! That would literally take George almost 2 years to pay this thing off if he was doing nothing but paying the bill. His bill off each month. What a fucking idiot. And then let's see, that's that one credit agency, 680. Oh God, it makes me wonder what the original bill was that he had to pay the credit agency to. Doesn't show amount. And Verizon Wireless, $338. Wow. Yeah, I'm about to end this thing. We're going to look at what you guys just said. But I want to say this right now. I'm not going to be keeping this on my channel, but I'll keep this up for like the next maybe 12 hours. So if you guys want to download this now and upload it to your channel, you can. It's just I already have my Sucks movie on here, and I just got to be, a little cautious. So let's take a look at the chat here. Got so much shit here. What happened to Jesus in a dump truck? Oh, good question. Yeah, I don't know. He just suddenly deleted like all the shit on his channel for whatever reason. He's on Facebook if you want to ask him what the fuck happened. Let's see. He should have named his new cab service LLC to protect it from... You would think so, but you got to keep in mind, George has the intellect of a 12-year-old. He wouldn't think that shit through. Let's see. He's as dumb as all we all thought. Yep. I'm not in the loop, but has he ever considered Uber? Oh, Uber is Gorgeous George's worst enemy. Yeah. Thank you, Captain Corpulence. He hates Uber. I remember in the Gorgeous George Sucks 4 movie, which if you guys haven't seen it, is currently on my channel. He, actually both 3 and 4, he says all this false shit about Uber. Like, I'm trying to remember what, like, the cabs are horrible, the horrible service with taxi people, you get like discounts and stuff. Of course, not real George lying that, Uber is like super cheap. Let's see. From what I remember, he hates Uber. Yep. All right, let's see. I love that eye of the hurricane squiggle. Yes. Completely logical. This should be a weekly thing. Let's see. He still writes on a slant. Yep. This fits the same pattern as the LOL suits make a strong passionate plea originally, then ask for an extension, then he fails to complete the process. Yeah, I have a feeling this is how he's going to do the bankruptcy thing too. Fast lumps. Yeah, what person with any financial savvy would go to a place like that, considering their like percentage rates to pay the back? Aren't they like 30, 40, 50%, something really like shamelessly high? That's foreclosure, yes. Is there a shadier name for a loan company? I don't believe so. I already answered the question there, D-High. Let's see. Streamline and downloaded. Let's see. He said another certified letter on the way. I'm ready to refuse. Me too. Blast from the past. Me too. Yeah, so that's about it. Unless you guys have any other questions, I'll stay on for like another minute if anything pops up. Let's see. He said another certified... Oh, wait. I already read that one. Derp. So I gotta wait for another like 10 or 15 seconds to account for the delay here. But yeah, from what I've added, minus the house, George has around $60,000 in debt. and he only makes $24,000 a year. Yeah, it really is mind-boggling. Yeah, I think I'm going to end this here because there's really else to talk about. So yeah, if you guys want to download this when I'm done, do so, because it's not going to be up here past tomorrow. Thank you guys. I love you all, and there's going to be more videos here soon. And